the meeting to order. Commissioner LeBlanc, will you do the invocation?
All right, this is in recognition of 9/11. Prayer for peace. With each kind thought, each choice for nonviolence, we plant a seed that shall bloom to bring forth rich fruit in its season. Together, friend, we till the soil and plant the seeds that all creation may sing for joy and dance in the garden of peace. May our prayers and practices during the season be but the beginning of a new culture of peace, security, and joy that shall endure unto our children's children's children. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll do the roll call, but I believe Mr. Mazzaghi is going to be calling in. Is that correct? Do we know?
No response.
No, okay. So do I start the meeting without him? Yeah, okay. All right. Commissioner LeBlanc,
Commissioner LeBlanc present.
Commissioner Gardner present.
Commissioner Burton present.
Commissioner Timmons present.
Thank you. Commissioner Timmis, I believe you need to be sworn in.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
All right. I, Anthony Timmis,
I, Anthony Timmons,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office
that I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of the Anastasia Mosquito Control District Commissioner,
the duties of the Anastasia Mosquito Control Board District Commission,
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you all for having me. My name is Keith Wolsey. I'm a judge here in St. Johns County, and we've also got Honorable James Zealis. He's a judge in Duval County. So-
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any citizen participation? I don't see anyone I don't recognize, so I'm going to say no. All right. Can we have approval of the agenda with any additions, corrections, or complete deletions?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Yeah, Madam Chair?
Yes. Can we get approval of the agenda? Do I have to have someone?
I'll make a motion.
All right.
I'll second the motion.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And we need approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, very good. Thank you. Mr. Baker, could you discuss our liability and workman's comp insurance, please?
Thank you for having me, Commissioners, and congratulations, Commissioner Timmis.
Thank you.
I applaud the audacious move to start off your agenda with the insurance discussion for the evening. It does kind of set the tone for the remainder, but I just want to go over basically highlights and just see if there are any questions. We began our renewal process for our October 1st renewal date a few months ago, a little over a couple months ago, and had meetings with staff, and then staff was kind enough to set aside time yesterday morning, and I appreciate Commissioner Burton being at that meeting as well yesterday to kind of go over some things. If you've had a chance to look through the proposal, you will probably note a couple of things. First of all, I know everybody goes to the year-over-year premium summary page to see what that is. And as you can see, that's a year-over-year decrease in coverage, which I can speak to a little bit. But just to talk about some of the principal coverages, and I've spoken to this in previous meetings just to kind of give an overview. What we have, what I am the steward of on behalf of the district is commercial package coverage, workers' compensation coverage, storage tank liability coverage, and then the element of aviation coverage, particularly with the drones. I don't cover the helicopter exposure. So within that, the first item that I mentioned, the commercial package, is really an omnibus coverage form that includes the district's property, general liability, public officials liability, employment practices liability, cyber liability, crime, and maybe leaving out a couple of ancillary coverages that support those. But those are the predominant coverage lines that we have unified under that one particular policy. So it's a multifaceted policy. And then we have workers' compensation coverage covering the district employees from workplace injury or workplace related disease. That is a standalone coverage. And then we have coverage for the drones, both from a liability standpoint and hull coverage. It's actually called hull coverage for the physical damage coverage for the drone units. And then we have storage tank liabilities for the district's 5 above-ground storage tanks that are storing various liquids. And just to kind of put some things in context, and I can speak to any element of questions concerning coverage limits, things like that, but I want to put the year-over-year premium differential in context. That is a decrease even while there has been an expansion of the in certain areas, the underlying coverage or exposure basis. And so what I mean by that is, for example, workers' compensation coverage is calculated based on payroll. And that has increased fairly significantly on a year-over-year basis. That was about a 17.6% overall increase in payroll. And so therefore the work comp premium increased commensurate with that increase in payroll. But the payroll doesn't only affect the workers' compensation, it also pertains to the calculation of the general liability premium, public officials liability premium, and employment practices liability premium. And so I want to mention that because while we have an overall year-over-year decrease, there were some things on an underlying basis with the exposures that underpinned the premium calculation that actually went up significantly. We're also insuring another drone, whereas when we took out drone coverage last year, and you can use the year-over-year premium comparison for your review on this, is that we only had one drone covered along with its supporting equipment. We added another one over the course of the previous policy term or the current term, which will expire in a couple of weeks. And so now we have another one. So when you see those line items, and I don't even have, I'm trying to think, I think the page is 16 in your insurance packet is the page that I'm going off of. When you see those line items, those things are the things that I'm speaking to on that. We have a few more people than we did last year. We have 62 versus 55 overall staff. By comparison with what we began the policy last year. Let's see, what else? I want to speak, talking about payroll and talking about its impact on the workers' compensation. The district has historically performed extremely well from a loss experience standpoint across the majority of its coverage, but particularly with workers' comp. And where it matters in workers' compensation is that you have one of the elements of the premium calculation is this modifier called the experience modification factor. And if you have a factor of 1.0, that is basically speaking to expected losses. Your losses over a rolling 3-year period of time have been average and expected. Anything under that is extremely good performance, and you get a factor calculation that accords with the good performance. And so the district's 0.74 mod, which is 26 basis points under expected performance, all that does, and I'm sorry for getting maybe a little too technical or too esoteric, but that I want to emphasize that because that is very good, that reflects very good loss control and claims performance on the part of the district. So I think it's noteworthy to mention that that continues to be a very good result, which also impacts the cost of the workers' compensation coverage in a very favorable way for the district. I'll stop there. Were there any questions? We have the same amount of property coverage. We're carrying about $18 million in overall property coverage here on this campus. That did not increase over the course of this current year, but as Ms. Gardner and Ms. LeBlanc will remember, we moved that up from about $12 million to roughly the $18 million from the 23-24 period to the current period because of completion of some significant buildings that had been under construction, and we got the certificates of occupancy on. So that number has remained the same. The other coverages with regard to liability limits for all the liability coverage that I mentioned, those are the same. We have approximately 40, well, we added 3 vehicles today, right? So we have, what you show is 39 vehicles, and we removed, when we met yesterday, we got notified of adding 3 new, but removing 4. So that's a net decrease of 1, I guess, on the overall. So, and then, but I mean that because we had, prior to that, we had 40 at the outset of the coverage last year, and then we had 39 by the time that the proposal was included in your packet. So those are the highlights. I really want to be available for any questions or comments about the coverage or how it would work, or the carrier. Just a quick word about who we use in terms of insurers. The workers' compensation coverage and the commercial package are insured with a very specific insurance facility that is only focused on the public entity business. And so it's Preferred Governmental Insurance Trust, with whom we have worked for many, many years. And we also work with the county and the sheriff's office and some other municipalities and public entities around the state. So it's a very focused insurance facility for public entities, and that's where the predominant carrier relationship is. The drone coverage and the storage tanks are not included with that. Those are with insurance carriers that focus solely, respectively, on aviation coverage, and then for the tanks on storage tank liability. So I will stop and see if there are any questions or comments.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Baker?
No.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Sorry, I forgot to ask it yesterday.
Yeah.
First question is about our worker compound and liability. Like every year we have a grant funding position, like hired by US, CDC grant funding, then workers here. So if there anything happen, our worker compound cover or not. So somebody can still danger, somebody work here, but they get paid from the US, hired by University of Florida.
Okay, then that's a good question.
We
That,
probably have more.
that
sometimes
workers'
too,
comp
sometimes.
exposure for the grantee should be borne by their
Yeah.
employer. Even if they're on secondment, for example, or on assignment here doing research or whatever they may be doing at the district, they should still be covered for workers' compensation coverage by, for example, if it's the University of
Yeah, it's
Florida
the-
that is their employment, that is who should bear the responsibility for the coverage.
Okay, thank you. My second question about intern. Every year, currently last year over 20, this year much more than 20. Also, 5, 6 high school, the intern also have volunteer, work for the disease education center, some are voluntary. 280 they told me, because they have hired the volunteer high school intern, get hurt, then worker compound liability doesn't work, doesn't cover. So start a lawsuit. Now the couple of agents told me the total shut down the intern. I don't want any high school intern. That's why it's getting scared as I
Right.
try to limit it. So it's covered not for intern.
That's
or
an
volunteer.
exposure, so I want to, that would be not covered by workers' compensation for the district because the internship is, it's unpaid, is it an unpaid
Yeah,
internship?
some of them pay, some of them pay.
Okay,
Some volunteer.
I will check on the paid element of that, but
Okay.
in other words, if it's an unpaid relationship, internship, then that individual doesn't enjoy workers' compensation coverage. They do, the district does have coverage from a liability perspective. So what I mean by that is if an intern was somehow responsible for causing a liability situation to arise, either bodily injury or property damage liability that the district could be made responsible for, the district is covered for that. And so you're covered from a liability perspective, but not from a workers' compensation perspective. Although I will check on the paid element because that may be a more nuanced
Okay, thank you.
response on that.
If you have a staff number of 62, that would include our payment. If you're going by payroll. then-
Really going by
Okay.
payroll, I was just,
Payroll,
that's how the
pay-
premium
pay.
calculation is made on payroll.
So every year when we host students, high school students from the academies, which we do a lot here, we do ask, so St. John's County School System asks for a letter from our insurance agency that you guys provide for us to provide to the academies, basically stating what you just said about the liability. So we do provide that documentation to the St. John's County School Academies.
And I do know that the school district also has student accident coverage in place as well, which could be recourse for that student if something were to happen, if the student were to, get injured in some way during the internship, then that could be a provision of coverage for them as well in the event of injury. I don't know the specifics, but I do know that they have that in place, and that could be a possible
Yeah, thank you.
solution if something happened.
I have a question. Years ago, we did, we were more proactive when we had, should I come to the podium? Or just-
You're fine.
Yeah, fine. So years ago, we had a great intern, and he did have an injury. And back then, I got some kind of certificate of workers' comp. So I did call, and I had their workers' comp covered. It was like a tick plan or something. So their workers' comp we could get. But I can't remember what kind of certificate I gotten from them. And maybe there's some kind of certificate that we should be asking for each person that comes in as grant funded. So we didn't, I thought that they covered it, and it was very, which,
Did you retain that documentary?
you know, I looked,
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Yeah.
We were 500 Old Beach Road.
Oh, that, okay, that's going
Yeah,
back.
that's something I still keep a lot of stuff electronically.
Okay,
Go for it.
yeah, if you could produce that, I'd look at that and research it.
Yeah.
That could be something that we could create a new template for or something like that for you.
Yeah, we had two. One, when I was on the island, one inter-student tick-borne disease. And we will move to here. One inter-student from North Carolina got tick-borne disease. So to deal with the kind of issue.
Okay. Good
Does
questions.
anyone else have questions for Mr. Baker?
All right.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Well, as always, if there are questions that might come up after the fact, feel free to contact me. Staff, talking with staff all the time. So I appreciate you giving me the time this evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I need a motion.
Oh.
Well,
Yes. Can someone make a motion to approve the,
Make a motion to approve. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you so much. Mr. Hannah?
Good evening, Scott Hanna, Anastasia Mosquito Control District CFO. This is the final budget amendment for the year, for the fiscal year. So we had a few categories that were just a little bit low on, so to finish the year up within budget. Personnel, I'd done this actually right before the last payroll, so I don't think we quite needed maybe as much as that, but just to be safe, we have one payroll left. So out of contingency, I took, we had 227,000 in contingency. So personal services, which is payroll, I increased by 90,000, and in benefits, 70,000. And that includes things like FRS and health insurance that's paid by the district. Travel and per diem, 6,000. Repairs and maintenance, 30. And then capital outlay, which will probably be the aviation department on some repairs that they're still doing. So for a total amendment of 216,000. I only had to take 215,000 out of contingency because we had a little overage on grants and donations, which we get to net out the $857.66. And that's basically the budget amendment. Any questions?
Does anyone have questions or comments?
No.
And I'm always available during the week, so if anybody wants to call me. I just got new business cards. Randy printed for me. They were empty. The little slot was empty for a while, so before the meeting, I'll hand everybody a business card. You have my direct phone number. Thanks.
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 all right, does it need a motion to,
Yes.
Approve.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right.
I'll second.
All right. Commissioner LeBlanc, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Mr. Timmis,
Yes,
welcome.
thank you. Super happy to be here. Just tell y'all a bit about who I am. My name is Anthony Timmis. Grew up here in St. Augustine, Florida. Spent most of my life here. I graduated from Pedro Menendez High School and current lawyer, so former math teacher, former prosecutor. Now I do private practice. And my main goal is just to reflect the values of the community. I think the way to do that is through transparency, accountability, fiscal responsibility, and obviously working with commissioners and the staff to achieve those goals. So very blessed to be here, and thank you all.
Thank you so much. All right. Mr. Hawking, welcome back.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone, commissioners. I want to give you a little update. Robert Hawken, Senior Partner at Floridian Partners, Tallahassee. Wanted to give you, I know I'm on the agenda as well regarding the contract, but before we get to that, I thought, and through the chair, to talk a little bit about what's going on in Tallahassee and kind of an update. As some of you remember that were here, I believe it was your first meeting 2 months ago or so, 3 months ago, and when we had Representative Greco out here and we took the tour. And ever since then, I have been on the road all over the state and all over the country, meeting with legislators and fundraisers and the things that we do. And the one thing that continues to pop up, especially amongst House members, is property taxes. And that's what you hear out of the governor's office. It seems to be the one thing that has carried over, or one of the things that has carried over from last session, that was just touched on a little bit at the end of the session. And then if you remember, the speaker appointed a select committee on property taxes toward the end of the last session and vowed to meet in the interim between now and this upcoming session, which this year starts in January. So if you remember, and Commissioner Timmons, I don't know if you recognize this or how much you know, but in Florida, we do legislative sessions, we stagger them, and you're familiar with that, right? So this past year, we started in March, and this year, and they're all 60 days, although this year we extended, but that's another story. And then next year, this upcoming year, we start in January. In fact, it's January the 13th is the day that we start our annual 60-day session next year. So the speaker had this idea of having these interim meetings. Well, because we did extend last spring, they haven't had any of those meetings. However, the Select Committee on Property Taxes is scheduled to meet Monday the 22nd and Tuesday the 23rd. So it's coming right up 2 weeks. There has been no agenda set for that yet. I can't, nor would I even think of guessing what's going to go on. There's, as my partner Meredith, who a lot of you met before, has said, there's 4,000 ways to cut property taxes. I mean, there's dozens. I don't know if 4,000 is the right number, but there's quite a few, right? Everywhere from doing away with them to changing the homestead number. It may be for people that if you outright own your home, get rid of them. I mean, who knows what they're going to come up with. The bottom line is they're going to be meeting on it, and they're going to start in 2 weeks. And at that point, we will, obviously, we'll be at those committee meetings. We'll be monitoring those meetings. And we will, we will get back and send a report or, come over here and explain what happened or get on the video during your next meeting. And at any rate, keep you up to date on exactly what's going on. At some point, there may be time for, to engagement by the district and/or commissioners through our local legislators, depending on what they come up with. So it's a little too early for me to say that right now, other than we have to be diligent. We have to be ready to move any way we can. And to that end, and a lot of you have been in the past over to the Florida Mosquito Control Association days in Tallahassee. Those days this year are scheduled for February 2nd and 3rd. That's a Monday and Tuesday. So they will be, coming over on Monday, do the reception Monday night, and then all day Tuesday meeting with legislators. And what we'll do is we'll work with Chris Lyon, the lobbyist in charge of that association, and be right there with you every step of the way, and to make sure that you're at the meetings you're supposed to, and then do side meetings like we've done in the past with our team and our commissioners specifically for the, for our local members of the legislature, both in the House and the Senate, to get in to meet with them. And also by then there will be some legislation filed one way or the other, and that's pertinent to the district, and we'll just meet with whomever we have to at that point. But that's essentially the snapshot of what's going on. I left this morning to come over here, and based on what I was saying earlier, I'll be home again next Thursday, because and I'm with legislators and key members, incoming speaker, incoming Senate president, all next week, and just to keep it geared. And so if I hear anything, obviously I report back to staff, and the good news is this continuity, because as you remember when I was first hired, it was an emergency situation, but now we have that continuity where I'm there all the time, and so I'm with these people these policymakers very often, and we can continue to tell them the story of Anastasia. So, in a nutshell, that's it.
Does anybody have questions for Mr. Hopkins?
Because I'm new to all this.
Sure.
So you only represent us or other small districts also?
No, I myself and our firm, we only represent Anastasia Mosquito Control District. We don't have any other special districts that we represent as well. So we're out of the 1,004 special districts in the state, we only have Anastasia Mosquito
So
Control
if any
District.
federal money is allocated, you go,
So state money,
And-
right?
yeah,
Tallahassee.
well, from
Yeah.
federal,
Right.
it's allocated to the state, and then
And then,
I'm assuming small districts like mosquito controls fight over it.
well, sure.
get their
there-
portion.
So that is the one big thing, right? In Tallahassee, everyone fights over, and just like the federal dollars,
Yeah.
right? The federal dollars come, and federal dollars, and Rudy can probably speak to this more, but, we're getting federal dollars, or have in the past, and state dollars, we don't take any state dollars, because, we're funded by the, by the citizenry by
Well,
property
I mean,
taxes.
like grants, that's.
Yeah, sure,
Grant.
right. For instance, if
Yeah.
the DAX, the Division of Agriculture and Consumer Services, if they had a grant that they put out and we found out about the grant, then we can definitely put in for it, and we can help try to maneuver that. But, a lot of what we do is just on the policy end, or most of it, how the legislature can, for instance, when I was first hired, there was some talk by the current speaker at the time to get rid of mosquito control districts,
Yeah.
right? And so, and with one swoop of the pen, and enough votes, they could do something like that, so. And that's what I said when I first came on, it was an emergency situation. And I would say, if the legislature's in, it's always an emergency, right? But, but what I said then, and will continue to say, is when you have that continuity in somebody that's representing you, and only you. I mean, look, we have 75-plus clients amongst our firm, including workers' comp carriers. I was totally into that. And with an experience mod of 0.74, you should applaud yourself, because that, on a side note, that is really something. So we have a lot of different clients all throughout, but when it comes in when it's this space, it's only Anastasia.
Good. Does anyone else have questions or comments for Mr. Hopkins? Well, we need a motion to approve his contract extension.
Make the motion.
Can I,
Oh,
before you do
sorry.
that?
Okay.
So Mr. Hawking and I had a brief conversation, so I need to bring this to your attention. I didn't work with Richard on this contract. I don't know which staff member put this contract together. But just to remind you, you have a copy of what's in your board packet, which we approved, or you approved as a board, March 18th of 2025. And if some of you would recall, not the newer commissioners, that at the time, it was an emergency.
Right.
So the reason that you adopted the roughly 6-month contract from March 2025 to September 2025 was because the justification was provided by the board that it was an emergency, and pursuant to your procurement code, there was a definition for that. So we cited 6.3.12, which is emergencies which would impair service to the public or cause serious financial injury to the district. Well, back in March, as a board, you decided that this was the case, and so you entered into this contract. But typically, when you use the emergency tool for procurement, it's because you're dealing with an emergency. Once that emergency is over, you're now back to your regular procurement rules. And so if you want to move forward with this contract, a couple of things. I think that we need, and Mr. Hawkins, we talked about this, a brand-new contract, not an extension. So a brand-new contract for 1 year, which would be, pursuant to the district's form. But more importantly, we need to look to your procurement code and figure out what tool in our procurement toolbox are we actually using. And one question that I had was, what's the contract amount? Is it the same amount? as last year?
Yes, 4,000 per month for the 12 months.
So that's going to be 48,000. So I'll point out to you that in your procurement code, anything that's over 34,000, you're mandated to go out and get a competitive solicitation, okay? If you want to waive that, you certainly can waive that. I don't see an exemption that fits. There are exemptions out there for sole source, but it's so rigidly written. By the way, I'd recommend you modify this so that you have more flexibility where it's not sole source, meaning that's the only vendor that can do it. It really means he's the only justifiable vendor, because that would have been an argument that you can make. You've been doing it for more than 12 months, so you know this sort of, situation better than other vendors in the same scenario. So I don't know how the board wants to proceed. I apologize. I didn't work with staff on this. Otherwise, it might have come to you in a different posture.
I think that's an important point.
What do you recommend we do at this point?
What was the line you crossed?
Right, so
To get multiple bids?
pursuant to your procurement rules, anything that's over $34,000, you have to go out for a competitive bid, and there are a whole slew of exemptions to that. One exemption is emergency procurements, which is how we were able to procure this
To begin with.
the last time, and it was under that 34,000, and it was under
Both
the.
times, yeah.
That's right, and it was under the $34,000 threshold. So there's a couple options here. You can waive your rules altogether and just direct contract. You typically don't do that, of course. You usually follow your rules. Or we can bring down the dollar amount to under 34, and there's just a requirement to get 3 quotes. But there's still that requirement that Dr. Shu or his staff would have to go out and at least get two other quotes from suppliers. Or you can proceed with putting out another RFP, since it's over the threshold amount, and follow your rules. Or you can make the justification for an emergency. I don't know what the facts are, so maybe this is an emergency. And of course, we heard from Mr. Hawkins that he would say anything in the legislature is an emergency, so that is also available. But I just want to make sure, whichever way you go on the record, we properly cite to the proper procurement tool that we're using, because anytime you engage services, you're operating in your world of your procurement code.
Well, I'm going to suggest we just call it an emergency, a continuing emergency, and move ahead with it.
That's an option.
My question for the attorney would be, would that be in compliance with the rules?
So I think through the chair to Commissioner Timmis, it's in your discretion as to what you define as an emergency. Pursuant to your rules, you deem an emergency to be an instance that would impair service to the public or cause serious financial injury to the district. That's your definition of emergency. So if you move forward with this contract for 1 year under your 6.3.12, then you would be saying as a board that if you don't enter into this contract, it's going to impair service to the public or cause serious financial injury to the district.
I think it has the potential to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if potential is enough. My question to the staff would be, if we were to table or continue this, how long would it take to become in compliance with something that we're sure about is in compliance?
Dr. Quall, go ahead.
Probably anywhere from 60 to 90 days, right? Because we have to draft it, then we have to advertise it,
Yeah.
send it out, get it back, review it, and then we present it to the board.
And I
right?
think it would be important to present it to the attorney as well to ensure we are in
Correct,
compliance.
yes.
Right, and through the chair to Commissioner Timmis, if I could add, I mean, these are professional services. So there are certain types of services where you have to have an advertisement out for 30 days, 21 days. You could do this advertisement for as short as 10 days, 14 days, because it's professional services.
Okay. Do we think we can get this done in 60 days?
So, based on Ms. Hodges' recommendations that we could do this as a 10-day advertisement, certainly we could probably have it to the board by December.
Okay.
or November.
November.
We don't have a November board meeting, no.
Okay.
Can we possibly just modify the time for now so that, like with the
Go
contract?
under
like
the,
modify
to go
it?
under the amount.
Yeah, like maybe 6 months or 3 to 6 months, anywhere in there.
I think that would be smart, then we can always renew.
Yeah,
Are
through
you
the
okay?
chair. Yeah, so here's what we're up against as well, is because these committee meetings start next week, or next month, and in 2 weeks, the
Right.
select committee starts. So if we could get through the end of the year, at least, so September, October, November, and then come back in December, do the RFP, or however you want to do it, for whatever time frame you want to do that in, then we can submit our RFP. We'll be on the job, we'll be doing what we need to be doing through this interim time, and then I'll come back in December and with an update anyway, which I probably would have.
Three months or
Right.
And,
That's
Yeah, we
and then
can
we
do
can
4
do a
months.
year starting in December for the following year, or however
So
long.
probably 4 months.
4 months would make sense, yeah. I think so, so.
Chair, sorry,
Yes,
Chair.
sir.
So there's on the commissioner direction that there's a called amendment, called extension or amendment. So same price, same service, try to, at least you cover January, February. But February is our session, FMC, February 2nd and 3rd. At least the cover, that's why. That's most important.
Sure.
After March, it will be a little bit different.
Right,
Yeah.
so that covers,
Maybe,
So 6 months? is
Well,
yeah, 6 months. The
months.
current is expired end of this month.
okay.
That's the reason the Commissioner
So we
TJ
can
asked.
do
that-
5 or 6 months?
Yeah, so it's 6 months.
Okay,
well, yeah.
And then we
through-
can come back and.
Through the chair, yeah, if you want to get through the session, then that's the end of, the middle of March. However you want to do it, so 6 months would, October, November, December, January, February, March, so that would be 6 months.
6 months.
And then we can come back
Come back.
next spring and do the whole RFP, or start the RFP through the winter and then do it
Okay.
I
that way.
think that's a good idea.
If you want to do it that way, I'll be fine with that.
Right, so then, through the chair, thank you, Mr. Hawkins, you just need then a motion to extend the contract based on the same terms for 6 months, utilizing the emergency exception, and with also the direction to the staff to, between that time, work on RFP and,
Right.
that's right.
And can I say one more thing? And I
Yes,
appreciate that
please.
through the chair again. And if the staff does get the RFP going beforehand and you put it out, we can cancel my contract especially if I'm the one that gets it,
That's right,
right?
that's right.
And then we can just start that. So in
That's
other
right.
words, we
Okay.
don't have to wait the whole 6 months if it's easier for everyone
That's
to
right.
move forward. I'm perfectly fine with that as well,
Okay.
because it's the same, it's all the same, right? in the
Right.
end? And we would be very happy and appreciative of
Good.
your business.
Fantastic.
All right, so we have a motion.
We need a motion,
We need a motion to extend the contract for 6 months.
that's right, and
With the
directing
terms-
staff
Yes,
to work on the RFP.
with the staff to work on the RFP
Okay,
in the meantime, okay?
I'll motion.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Mr.
We're going to choose it from.
Yes, please.
Great, thank you. So we have had some individuals show up from the public. As noted, we did have originally scheduled our first budget hearing at 5:30 today. That is what went out on the tax bills, right? But because of a conflict with another, I believe it was the St. John's
School board.
School board, we had a conflict and we can't schedule it on the same day. It was updated on the trim, but it was not updated on the tax bill. And so we do have an individual who would like to speak tonight. I have her speaker card with the chair.
Absolutely, yes,
Thank you.
yes. Thanks.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I don't mean to derail the meeting. So I think I'm just gonna do this really quickly so not to take your time too much, but I believe that the proposed budget is about a 12.9% increase, and that's a very large thing for a lot of families to do. And the local, the public schools local percent increase is about 49%. And I've called the board cover that 12.9% increase? Like, I know I'm not getting 12.9%. I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. Apologies. So I know that I'm not getting a 12.9% increase in my pay this year, and I know that a lot of the people who are retired in the community also may struggle to cover that. So I don't know if there's a way for us to like look at the money and see if there's any way to decrease that to the original amount and kind of move around things. And I think it's really difficult to see that because we are not provided with the line-by-line budget. So I think that was all I wanted to say. Sorry for derailing the meeting. Yes. Is there, so I guess for the outcomes, is there a way that we can get a line by line of the budget?
It's on the website.
Yeah.
So I think that there,
You go ahead.
Go ahead,
so
Dr.
I think
Wells.
that there is a bit of confusion. So we are an independent taxing district, the Mosquito Control Commission. So our line item is right
Last one.
here. And so we're actually rolling back our millage rate. So this would be just what you pay per year for mosquito control. That's your total payment for the entire year.
Yes, that's okay.
Right, but so we don't actually work with the county on their budget, it's completely separate. But I can provide you a breakdown of our budget if you would like.
Yeah, that would be great. I guess like the main, I think I called the school district for the public budget and they didn't have it, and that's a 49% increase. So like, that's a lot of money. I guess, I don't know if you guys can help with that or?
No, we don't have any influence over that.
They have a hair public hearing tonight, school board tonight.
That's right.
And we're doing a rollback. We're
5:30 school board tonight.
They make it confusing on the school local. Who's going to be here at Orange Street.
September
Oh.
11, 5:30
Okay.
school board.
So you can still make it because I'm sure it will still go fairly long. But it's at Orange Street. So I think it's right down the
Okay,
road
yeah.
off of Lewis Speedway, I believe. Wow.
I apologize so
It's
much.
quite
I just
awesome.
moved to this county.
We are such a good bargain that we love it when people come and ask us.
Yes, I honestly had no issues with the mosquito control. We love that, so.
Through the chair, do you mind if she could state her name for
Yes.
the record, just so
Yes.
that our
Could you
secretary can...
state your name and address for the record? That's
First name and last name is Eva Oshayetz. Address is 29 Finney Lane, Nocatee.
Thank you so much, and thank you for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Yeah, we have a tomorrow night, 5:30 public hearing, first public hearing.
Yeah, I
Welcome,
my
come.
tax bill just had on here.
Okay. So, Ms. Rivera,
Good evening, Sheila Rivera, Human Resources Generalist. I am here to present a revision to our public comment policy at the direction of Dr. Shu. Our policy hasn't been updated since 2016. In your board books, you find the first page is the old section of the policy that talks about public comment. And behind that with the logo is the new policy. So I'll just talk a little bit about what it covers. Basically guided by Chapter 286 of the Florida statute, which provides that members of the public shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard on a proposition before a board commission. The opportunity to be heard need not occur at the same meeting at which the Board of Commission takes official action on the proposition. If the opportunity occurs at the meeting that is during the decision-making process and is within reasonable proximity in time before the meeting at which the Board of Commissions takes that official action, the statute provides that the board can have rules or policies which govern the opportunity to be heard, that provide guidelines regarding the amount of time that an individual has to address the board, procedures for allowing representatives or groups or factions on a proposition to address the board, and prescribe procedures or forms for an individual to use in order to inform the board of their desire to be heard. So if we have those rules in policy, we would be deemed to be acting in compliance with Florida Statute, Chapter 286. So our policy established more detailed procedures for public comment during our meetings in accordance with this Florida statute. Beginning with designating 3 periods for public comment. The first, which would be before the agenda is approved at the beginning of the meeting and before the commissioners take action on any item, we would designate a space there for public comment. A second opportunity for public comment will be included on the agenda during the unfinished business portion of the agenda, so that's like towards the middle of the meeting. And then an additional citizen participation opportunity would be included in the new business portion of the agenda. So this provides a little bit of structure to help with the interrupted calls for public comment that we get. You are welcome to give me your guidance or what you think about 3 spaces for public comment. It also speaks to the procedures. Obviously, if somebody wants to address the board, they need to be recognized by the chair. We have the sign-up cards, which individuals will be required to complete before the commencement of the meeting, at least 5 minutes before the commencement of the meeting. It states that all comments should be directed to the chair and not to the individual board members. The public will have a 3-minute limit for their comments each time. And if we get, which we don't often do, but if we get a larger group who designate a representative to speak with on their behalf, there's an additional minute for a group. So if a group of 5 come, then they can designate 1 person to speak. And if for larger groups, the total is 10 minutes, which is in line with what other policies in other entities similar to ours have in their policy. Speakers may not donate their time to other individuals, and all communication should be respectful, avoiding personal attacks, slanderous or obscene or profane language. The board it states that the board is not obligated to respond to comments or engage in dialogue or debate with the speakers during the public comment period. In fact, the person provided public comment should not be interrupted during their public comment period. And it states the authority of the chair to have the responsibility to maintain order during the meeting. It discusses law enforcement presence during the meeting to remove somebody at the discretion of the chair if they are violating the rules of decorum. And it states that nothing in the policy obviously is intended to be in conflict with Chapter 286 or any other state or federal laws. And if in instance that the policy is in conflict, then the Florida statute or the law will trump the policy. Any questions or comments or input that the board would like to provide, or any member here would like to provide on the policy?
The designated representative mandatory? Does it ever become mandatory?
No, the person can have their own 3 minutes, but if they come as a group to address the same issue, they can select 1 person to speak in the group's behalf.
So it's permissible?
Yes, permissible, but not obligated. Each citizen can have their 3 minutes.
Is this limiting in any way in comparison to the old public comment?
The old policy, it actually is it's a little bit more forgiving. It adds a little bit more time to the group. Before we had it at 5 minutes. And also our old policy stated that the person addressing the board had to stay in topic about the issue and could only talk about the issues, which that doesn't always happen. And, I'll defer to Ms. Hodges on that section, but we removed that section while maintaining the rules of decorum. And what I looked at was Robert's rules of law. Yeah, thank you. So I think it is more detailed and it provides a little bit better guidance for the board so that we can put on the agenda specifically when the public comment is going to happen and the people can see it on the agenda when the public comment is going to happen, so they don't get angsty and interrupting when you guys are trying to conduct the meeting.
So I just had a quick question. So there's only 3 areas where they can speak?
Yeah.
And they have to speak on the group of topics in that area, correct?
No,
Is
they
there-
can speak on whatever they want, but the purpose of having three opportunities, one at the very beginning is because they should be allowed to speak on anything that you're planning on taking a vote during the meeting.
Okay.
So we have to let them provide public comment first, and then if that 3-minute wasn't enough, if there was a lot of issues that they wanted to speak on and didn't get to, then we have another opportunity in the middle of the meeting. And then towards the end of the meeting, they can address anything that may not be in the agenda, but is of the business of the district. So you tell me, that could be reduced. Other, like the school board, I think they only have 1 opportunity for public comment at the end. But this is just a proposal, so for your input to let me know what would you prefer.
Because, if somebody's talking for 3 minutes and don't get their total point across before we vote, there's no sense in them talking at the end of the meeting, correct?
I mean, they can, but the vote is
At that point,
taken.
it's mute what they
Yeah,
say, except to get it on record.
right.
So I guess comments are going from 5 minutes to 3 minutes?
No, they were original 3
Okay.
minutes. The group, if a group comes and designates a speaker to represent a group, it's fair for that person to have more than 3 minutes because they're speaking on behalf of a group. So that's why that's expanded to 10 minutes, depending on how many people they're representing.
Otherwise, it would be 3 minutes to
3
9
minutes,
minutes.
that doesn't change. That's the same as before, and it's in accordance to what other districts and boards have, it's 3 minutes.
So even though it says on the agenda that we're going to discuss and approve the public comments policy, our attorney has not had a chance to review it, and I'm going to suggest that we let her do that and review it, bring it up again and put it on the next board meeting agenda.
I would agree with you, Madam Chair.
I agree. And there's also some spelling, little typos and stuff.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Mr. Chair, yeah.
Yes.
There's 3 months ago, Commissioner Mazda brought us out from the school board. He gave us school board on the list agenda, then we postpone. So that's, so he's not here today. It's his item.
Right.
I like to really
You want to
postpone
point that
next
out.
meeting.
Yeah.
And yesterday he told me he will be interested in his item. Today, 2 items he's not here. One is about you, one about that. So, yeah.
We'll spank him next month.
Okay, yeah, next month.
Right, but if I could, since you,
Yes.
just to add to the conversation, to give you a preview of like just some of my comments.
Yes, please.
I do want to reiterate, because this has come up in some other questions that, commissioners have asked. Just keep in mind, the public's ability to talk is not just the way that this is written. There are some jurisdictions where, the legal rule is if you're voting on a matter, then that's when we have to give the public the ability to talk. But when there are presentations that you give, things that you aren't voting on, there's a lot of things on your agenda that doesn't require action when Scott does his reports. I just want to make sure you understand that the way that you've crafted this, because again, I've had questions about this from y'all, is any item on the agenda. Doesn't have to necessarily be an item that you're going to take action on. It's any item on this agenda, presentation, report, the public would be able to speak on. I did have a clarification question to Ms. Rivera. With respect to that first public comment period and the second public comment period, we're not limiting, so if they already took 3 minutes to talk about a consent item, because the public can speak on a consent item, we would allow them a second opportunity, or they could revisit that same item in the second opportunity that's midway in the unfinished business.
I mean-
Because typically, you don't allow twice
Right,
on the
same
same
thing.
topic. And the way this is written, they could do that. They could comment on your consent agenda. They could say, oh, the inventory seemed off to me for 3 minutes in that first session. And then in the second session, where we still say you can talk about any item on the agenda, that would still include the inventory that they just talked about. I don't know if that was intended or not, but it may be something to
It
think
was
about.
more for, I was thinking the first one would be if they wanted to comment on consent items that are really not going to
Gotcha.
be discussed.
So
Because
that's-
sometimes
yes.
they want,
That's
you
right.
shouldn't have this on the
That's right.
agenda or
Okay.
something like that.
So we can clarify that to specify
please.
that.
Yes.
And then the other bigger issue is some of you may recall our good friend, Mr. Slavin, when he speaks, oftentimes he'll reference the mom celebrity case. He is 1,000% correct on that case. We have recent case law that where you really see the intersection between First Amendment rights and public comment rights. And so basically what the court said in that case, and it went to the appellate level, is when we get to like page 2 and we have respectful communication, speakers are not expected to be respectful, are expected to be respectful to their language and avoid personal attacks, obscene, profane language, or become boisterous. The court has specifically said that the use of that terminology in rules of decorum is very problematic and subject to challenge on First Amendment grounds because you don't know what it means to be obscene. That's like in the eye of the beholder, and what you had in that particular case is that the chair was applying her own standard of what she felt like was obscene, and it tended to be the case where it was being applied to the viewpoint that the particular chair didn't like. And so it was deemed as a viewpoint, an unlawful viewpoint restriction against the Constitution and First Amendment rights. So that's the cleanup that, we'll have to do with respect to the use of this language throughout this document. And then any other comments that I have, as I've done in the past, I'll give them to
So
Ms.
the-
Rivera.
The line more like what the Roberts rule language is profanity, shouting, or personal attacks are often prohibited. Do you recommend that kind of language, or do we need to?
No, I would recommend striking that language altogether because I think it is unconstitutional based on the law.
I would agree. The First
So in this,
Amendment
that's correct.
supersedes
It's for,
Robert's
absolutely.
Rules of Order.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
respectful communication take off?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
and I'll work with you on it.
Yeah.
When I went to my last city, county, and local government conference training, this was one of the points that they really directed all of the lawyers practicing in this area to go through their clients' decorum rules and strip this language out because
And
it's no longer in
A
compliance.
lot of the policies like that I looked at, they all had it, so
Oh,
that's.
Which
yeah,
was the
they-
message to the
But
city.
they also haven't
Yeah.
been updated in a long time.
You're precisely correct. And that's why when we had our last conference where we had all the municipal lawyers meeting together to talk shop, that was one of the main directives. Lawyers, you got to go through your client's rules and strip this language out because it's not in compliance with the First Amendment. So, okay, so that's just a preview, and then we'll bring it back at the next meeting.
Very good, thank you
Appreciate
so
that.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Hodges. All right, Dr. Shu.
Oh, report, thank you. Congratulations, welcome, new board member, Ms. Tim. We met twice, and the Monday, and they come in Monday night, they come and watch the field test. Thank you, getting into this.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah. So that, everybody knew that recently lots of rain, because every that rain, more water, more mosquito. The population really started. We have some complaint increase, and especially the visiting area, Flagstaff, or the island. Island, we state park still work on with as a part of the contract, of course, in charge, there's work with the agreement update. Sometimes tough, sometimes easy. When what's going to happen, let's do it. That's okay, we can work on. After that, difficult to get it together to deal with the state park. So that's also it's on the visual area, marketing area, we have some kind of southern marsh mosquito complaint. So we started treating, and that's a year very interesting to get more people call back, more positive feedback. Still have one or two. I'm happy, with your area, one ladies and I'm happy. And rest is so far I'm not getting any negative complaint. So why the ladies from the negative area they complain too much tax money, so the same as they come here and ask you spray, you have to spray. But I will have to many law regulation, limitation, have to justification and say, so current mosquito control is not easy, not only depend on science. Same like I have to psychiatrist, you have to ask you spray, even no mosquito you have to spray. So that's sometimes we very difficult to deal with. I'm sure maybe next couple weeks when more mosquito, more people complain, so we just try to more support us. If they call about the main board, can forward to us, we'll try to handle this here. Try to make people happy. Normally what's happening, doing our best effort, make people happy. But impossible to make 100% people, everybody happy. It's impossible. We definitely make a majority happy, doing our best. That's currently our Western area situation, still the blood donation was there in city of area 016. So that's almost 2 months ago. Blood donation, but no same thing. So also have chicken so far confirmed 3 positive Western area. So a couple suspect cases for the chicken. We worry about it. The other county, Alaska County, and DV County, people saw the Channel 4, the TV, last week started a report about Western Nile, and they want to get more pay attention. So we hopefully use opportunity, try to conduct more public education, promotion for personal protection. That's the season happening. We try to do our best to serve the public. Thank you. Also, they welcome our new reception, Ms. She's excellent. We are very happy. And she started this her third week. Started prepare about the book, everything, pick up very quickly. I'm very happy with her.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, very nice to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hodges.
I don't have any reports today, but I'm very grateful to be here and just thank you all for your patience in working with me. So, see you next time.
All right, I want to thank the staff for all their hard work, and I know there's been a lot of rain, so a lot of hatch-offs, so thank you.
That's for me.
All right. The meeting is adjourned.